Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to be taking you through a tutorial today to cut a graduate bob, the one that you see in the picture right now. That is my beautiful mum. So let's get into it. So starting off, my mum's hair is freshly washed. I have coloured it. She had a 4-week-old regrowth. She's about a level 5 naturally, and I used Joico Blonde Life powder lightener with 20 volt. Leave it on for about 35-40 minutes. It's developed beautiful and clean. You'll have seen it on previous videos and also on my Instagram. But yeah, it just lifts really super clean with Joico Blonde Life. And what my toner is a TBB, TPB, TSB from their K-Pack range. If you're not familiar with Joico, that's basically a violet pearl, silver sort of finish, and you'll see it the end result at the end of the video, as you'd seen at the beginning of the video. But I had to blow dry my mum's hair, the fringe off first, because her hair is one of the hardest hairs that I have to work with in the salon. Super thick, and if you leave it to dry in any sort of way, it just wants to stay there, and it's really hard to sort of manipulate back. So super simple sectioning. This is just what I do for a graduated bob in the salon. Just super simple sectioning pattern. Split the front from the back, and then I work diagonal sections up to the occipital bone from the middle of the ear. I'm then going to cut the length in at the back, and it's going to be a little bit A-line. So we're going to create that graduated shape from shorter at the back to longer towards the front. And that's all I'm going to do through this back section. I'm going to be dropping pieces down and just cutting the sections in nice and tight. And then when we get to around the curvature of the head, I'll then start to put a bit of graduation in. But a lot of work with my mum's hair goes into the refining process. So I will put in the sort of basic shape, a little bit of layering, a little bit of graduation in there, and then I will blow dry, straighten, and I will refine a lot. I will be working a lot of the weight out, a lot of the thickness out, trying to loosen up the hair as much as possible. But you can see my mum's hair there, it's got a real natural sort of wave kink to it, and that's what we're sort of battling against as well. But here I'm just taking the middle section. This is where I start. See the curvature of the head at the top? This is where I start to put this graduated shape in, and all I'm using is the length around the occipital bone. I'm pulling it straight out from the head, and I'm just putting in a diagonal line, graduated line, and then just cutting that in. I do the same both sides, so I'll be creating that graduated shape, pulling it all back, over directing back, which you know is going to maintain the length towards the front. It's going to also hold the weight around the back of the ear, so you don't get that sort of jit up, that bit of hair that you lose around the back of the ear, because where the hairline goes up around the ear. Some people tend to lose that strength around the back of the ear because you either don't over direct enough, and yeah, you lose that strength. But you can see here again, just the middle section, just following my guide all the way down, over directing back to that middle point, and then I'll be over directing to the previous guide. That's how I'm putting in my mum's graduated bob, and this is what I've done for many years. We've changed it up a little bit, added a bit more texture, a little bit more layering. We have done longer versions, we've done some shorter versions. Same with the colour. I think we changed the colour up more than we do the haircut now. We've worked with the quick tones, we've worked with the Joico demi glosses, we've worked with the Vero K-Pack tones as well, which we've done today. We would keep it really nice and blonde, but we like to change it up, whether it's a bit more violet, a bit more creamy. But this, we've gone for a bit more silver to the hair. And you can see that I've just got a bit of elevation on that top section. The reason for elevation is just because I want to create a bit more softness, and then I will soften further when the hair is dried and straightened. Just working on the sides now. I'm just checking with my mum what length we want to go to, and we're taking about 1 inch off the sides. She felt it was a little bit long and she wanted to go a bit shorter this time, but I'm just using the length from the back and just following through to the front. This is the same on both sides, and I'll do a little close up in a second so you can see how I'm cutting and what I'm cutting off in a second. But you can see from the sides, I will be over directing back to that point as well, and just putting in a slight layer or a bit of graduation if wherever you look, because if you look at graduation, it's always below 90 degrees, and I suppose we're working just below or on 90 degrees to put in that graduation shape through that front there. Just puts a little bit of shape through the front. And then you can see here the close-up, I'm just matching up that back section and just cutting off the length to the desired length. That's the initial shape put in. I'm going to be blow drying now, just putting in the, just blow drying. I want to be getting the roots sitting nice and tight to the head. Again, with the curly wavy hair, it does have a life of its own, so a lot of work goes into the blow dry to try and get it to sit perfectly smooth. But then that's where the straighteners come in and we just polish the haircut off. But I'll leave you to watch the blow dry. You can just see I'm working with underneath about a 28mm brush, and I'm going to change to I think it's a 42mm brush for the rest of the haircut. Hairdryer I'm using is the GHD Helios. Really cool hairdryer, much lighter than the GHD Air that was the original. A lot of the guys in the Salon, they're using the Helios. We've got a couple using the Air, and when they pick up the Helios, they're surprised at how much lighter it is compared to the Air. But one of the things I do with blow drying as well, I tend to just dry off the hair and try and get it as smooth as possible, and you'll see me just blast the hair down quite a bit. I'm using my cold shot and I'm just trying to set the shape and just bend that hair under a little bit more, because you can see how blunt that is sitting there. And then I'm just drying off that root area now, and then I'll go in and I'll do exactly the same, just trying to get that shape and encourage the movement in the hair. But there's all the team in the background. Give them a little shout out. And when we come to straighten, I grab our assistant Ellie, and she makes a start on the straightening for me while I'm still blow drying. But all I'm doing is just blow drying the hair really smooth, just trying to get all those waves and just really smooth the cuticle through so it shows a lot of shine. My mum's hair is super shiny. For the hair type she's got, the really thick and blonde. I mean, you don't get many shiny blondes, but yeah, my mum's hair is super shiny, super healthy. But a lot of that comes down to Defy Damage is what I've used today. And then next appointment, I'll be using the K-Pack 4-step hair repair system. That's the where you've got the cleansers and the rebuilders and the moisturizers and the cuticle sealers, and that's something that I use every other appointment. And then I'll be using Defy Damage just to protect the hair through the lifting process. But you can see the shape is there, just a soft graduation on here. We have gone shorter before with the graduation, but we just like to leave a little bit of a bevel on it now. And just get that little bit of elevation on the root at the top, just to give a bit more body and make the hair suit the head shape. Because often with thick hair, a lot of people want it really flat to their head or smoother, and it doesn't really complement the head shape, because if you're trying to really squash it to the head, it can sometimes make the head look a little bit flat and then bulge out at the bottom, which is what you don't really want. You want to be creating a beautiful head shape and a haircut that suits. Here's Ellie now, grabbing the straighteners, getting them ready for me. She's going to start at the back while I start to blow dry the right hand side. I'm just telling her how I want it. I just want it just to bend around underneath, just to smooth it through, then I can start refining and then just polish off that length, just put that line in just a bit crisper. Straighteners we're using are the GHD Platinums. We've got the new GHD Unplugged. I've got a video coming soon, a little review, a little unboxing, to be honest, of the GHD Unplugged cordless straighteners. We're using them in Salon. We're using them just to sort of, once we've sort of done it with the plugged in ones, we might just refine, or we might just curl with the Unplugged. The Unplugged are a really cool idea. I mean, to follow with the likes of Dyson and Cloud9 to get these cordless things happening. I mean, I'm really looking forward to a cordless hairdryer, to be honest. Here's the final section, just blow drying it all in. You can see how smooth it's sitting, but we want it smoother. So I'm going to get the irons in there now and just polish it off. And that hairline there, I'm just going to really make that a lot softer, but a lot stronger. And I'll be lifting the hair up, because you can see how it just pops off the nape a little bit. That's because the hairline, it sort of bounces back upon itself. And I think you can see in this video, when I brush it down, you can see a little bit of sort of pop out at the bottom. So I'll make sure that I do a little bit of undercut or a little bit of tidying up on that nape area, because what that does, it just makes it sit closer to the head and to the nape, and makes it seem a little bit more, there's a little bit more movement to it. You can see the shine, really, really light blonde, really shiny, really healthy. There's some new little hairs in there as well, just popping up. But there I am, just working that hairline in, just point cutting it out and just softening it off, and just trying to remove that bulk that sits there, just sits kinder on the neck. And there I'm now brushing, see that bit at the bottom there just pops out. That's the hairline that I'm talking about. So I'll be lifting up, and then there'll be another bit that sort of pops out, and then I'm gonna get some clippers in a second, and I'll just take that off underneath as well. But I'm just lifting the hair up as if I was gonna do a scissor over comb, and I'm just pointing the weight out. So you can see there, I'm just trying to take as much bulk out as possible. Something my mum is very happy about, trying to remove as much weight, because blow drying her hair and straightening it is a task in itself. See the shape, the lines are nice and strong, and I'm just trying to shatter those off a little bit just to remove that bulk and that weight in the hair. Here's the clippers, so I'm just lifting the hair up, and I'm just, there you go, just trying to take off that bit just there. That follows all around the hairline underneath, and just taking it off makes the hair sit a lot closer to the head. Just straightening again, just smoothing the hair through. I have got heat protection on here, and I've got Blonde Life oil. I've also got Structure Multi-Star, which is a primer. So I do work with a lot of products in the hair, nothing too heavy. And to be honest, with Joico products, I don't find anything heavy at all. But when it comes to thicker hair, I try not to overload with products. I just want there to be something in there just to heat protect and just to smooth through. And you can see that shape coming in there now. I'll just be following that through, just refining. I mean, I said in one of my last videos, I could refine for weeks. I could just take little pieces of hair away, just make it sit perfectly. Just smoothing through just to make sure that we're going to get the shape, and also to make sure that that hairline is sitting where we want it, and to make sure that the hair is sitting where we want it. Because if a bit was curled under and I was to miss it, there'd be a bit sort of longer than the rest. Putting the head forward so I can see where the hair wants to sit naturally, and it also takes the hair off of the shoulder. If that's one thing that you struggle with, where you're doing a bob and the hair sort of sits on a shoulder and it sort of kinks up, and you're thinking, God, how do I get my fingers in there, or how do I get my comb in there? It's nice to get the client just to move their head to one side so it frees it up, put it forward, and you can see there, you can see the shape. And then if it was to sit naturally, it will just sort of kiss that shoulder. Now I'm going through my sections and just deep point cutting again, just to remove even more weight and to soften off those lines. But yeah, I'll do my mum's hair every 4 weeks. Make sure she comes every 4 weeks so we're not left with any demarcations, any yellow banding, which is why 4 weeks is optimum for mum's hair. She's natural level 5, and getting it lifted nice and clean and getting the toners to work properly and not have any banding of yellow or orangey pieces in blonde hair is something which is vital. So we're just coming up to the end of it now. I'm just again softening off that hairline. I think I've been doing most of that this video, but it's something which is vital. And if you don't put enough time into refining hair, it's not really going to sit how you want it. And one thing I was taught at college, and some of you might be watching this thinking, I've never been taught refining. It's something I wasn't taught. When I was at college, I was taught that you cut it wet, you blow dry it, your client's happy. Whereas it wasn't until a salon environment that I really looked at other stylists doing it, and courses and all of that, and seeing people really, their haircuts coming to life when the hair was dry. So I'm just putting in the fringe now just to point cut it off, and a nice little blunt fringe. Unfortunately you don't see it, or you might see it in a reflection, but there is the finished result. Just a nice bit of graduation, a little bit of bevel there. The colour is unbelievable, look at the shine on it. Joico makes colouring so much easier. When it comes to the reconstructive properties, and you've got quadramine complex, you've got Argiplex built into the colours, just makes it so easy. But there you go, there's my mum. That is the blunt fringe that we've put in, and there's the graduated bob. So if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave some comments down below if it's helped you or if you've liked it. If you'd like to see more of these, then I'll be bringing them very, very soon. So until then, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.